Rock and Sand Apologetics welcomes you to Lesson 4 of the Lord of the Rings Bible Study. Today, Pippin, a Took in Gondor. Say friend, and enter. The old man laid his sword along his lap, and Pippin put his hand on the hilt, and slowly said after Denethor, Here do I swear fealty and service to Gondor, and the lord and steward of this realm, to speak and to be silent, to do and to let be, to come and to go, in need or plenty, in peace or war, in living or dying, from this hour henceforth until my Lord shall release me, or death take me, or the world end. So say I, Peregrine, son of Paladin, of the Shire of the Halflings. Of all the examples, especially the hobbits are so typically in their beginnings with our own lives. Few, however, strike me as near to home as that of Peregrine Took, better known to us as Pippin. Pippin was always into everything. Like a curious child, he had to pick things up, go places he shouldn't go, do things that were prankish and childlike. Yet these things are the qualities that sometimes define me. If that's true, then perhaps they remind you of yourself as well. One thing about this kind of approach to life is you never bother to consider the consequences until it's too late. Sometimes you can be it can be a good thing, like when Pippin demanded to go with Frodo and Sam on their quest to get rid of the ring. If Pippin had realized the consequences of the action and all the danger it would put him in, I doubt very much that he would have been so demanding. Then again, when he just had to see how far a pebble would drop down a hole while they were in the mines of Moria, or when he stole from Gandalf the Palantir to look at it, now those are bad decisions. That pebble made the enemy hiding in Moria aware of the Fellowship's presence and cost them the loss of the leader Gandalf, at least for a while. Looking into the Palantir drew the eyes of the enemy to the Fellowship. It nearly undid all the good they had done. That notwithstanding, Pippin remains one of my favorite characters. Why? Because he is so much like me. And if he can be valuable to the quest, then that means God can use someone like me. That I find encouraging. My wife found Pippin annoying because he's always going off doing something without thinking about it. That's Pippin. How many of us are like that as well? Pippin didn't remain a childlike, prankish fool of a Took, to use Gandalf's words. The adventures, the dangers, the camaraderie with the other fellowship, uh, and others outside the fellowship, like Treebird, uh, uh, helped Pippin to mature. Oh, he still had that high-hearted laugh, that quality that allowed him to enjoy life, but he had grown. He had begun to think like an adult. You see this when Merry and Pippin were captured by the orcs. It was Pippin who leaves a trail uh, to follow. It is Pippin who helps them escape. It is Pippin who seems friendlier with Treebeard. Then, after the incident with the Palantir, when Pippin is rushed off to Gondor, it is Pippin who pledges his sword to Denethor, steward of Gondor. When Denethor receives his son injured from battle, decides to go to the chambers of death and have both Faramir and himself put to death by fire. It is Pippin who. Denethor receives his son injured from battle and decides to go to the chamber of the dead and have both Faramir and himself put to death by funeral fire. It is Pippin who is instrumental in saving Faramir's life by quickly finding Gandalf. Although Denethor dies, Faramir lives. He has become a valiant knight of Gondor. The Bible teaches us that God takes the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. The question is, do we grow from our mistakes as Pippin did? Or do we allow God to let us mature in him? The Lord of the Rings movies does a disservice by not including the cleansing of the Shire. Unlike some other scenes in the book, this scene is incredibly important. For the quest is more than about getting rid of the ring. It's about how these people in the other fellowship have changed. When we come into a relationship with Jesus, it is not so much whether or not we have completed the task God places before us, although that is definitely a plus, but whether or not we have changed. We are to be transformed into the image or likeness of God's Son. Have you? Have I? That is the most important question we can ask of ourselves. But God has chosen the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. God has chosen the weak things of this world to confound the things which are mighty. 1 Corinthians 1:27.